Hi, I'm Kayla, and this is my husband, Corey, and this is Oliver. He has Dravet syndrome. And this is Olivia, and Emerson, and Elsie, and Avery, and Maylee, Oliver's service dog in training. And this is our life with Dravet.
Hi there. I wanted today to go over Oliver's emergency binder. I have Maylee joining me today. So this is the binder. I've got two of these. One is for the house and one of them stays in Oliver's go bag, and we'll go over what's in his go bag at some point in time. But this binder is really for if I'm not with Oliver, if either Corey or I are not with him, he's under the care of someone else, we're incapacitated for some reason, it has all of his important information if we cannot be there to provide it to emergency personnel or to whoever is with him at the time. So the very front cover, it's just a 1-inch binder. That is, I chose red very specifically. It's not a usual color for a binder. It stands out. But the very front is the Seizure First Aid poster from the Epilepsy Foundation at epilepsy.com, so you can find it and download it there. It has basic first aid for seizures. So I added, of course, for Oliver, his regimen, he needs to get rescue medication immediately, and so that's on here as well. It says call 911 if, I crossed out the if, because if I'm not there and someone else is looking at this with a seizure, I just feel better if 911 is called right away. And so I know that, even if the rescue medication doesn't stop his seizure, at least emergency support is on its way. The first thing, I have this part covered. I have our address in bold here. No one really needs to know our address. And this is all essentially the form I used, but blank. Because again, not everybody needs to know Oliver's personal information. So I have his full name on the first page, date of birth, his diagnosis, and his treatment plan for if he has a seizure. I also have on here in red are the various what we call contraindicated medications. So medications that he should not have that could be really harmful to someone with Dravet syndrome. His current medications, dosage, and things like that. His rescue medication is first, and then his daily as of whatever date. I left room down here too. I've recently updated this, but especially when your kiddo is really young, oftentimes you go through medication changes or frequent dose changes as you're trying to figure it out. So it gave me some room to write those in with a new date on, so I don't have to print off a new sheet right away. I have it saved on my computer, but life gets busy, so you don't always get to update a piece of paper on your computer before you can quickly write it down once it's happened. And then at the very bottom down here is our preferred hospital. I also have the neurologist, the primary neurologist that is who's caring for Oliver. And then I usually put a secondary option as well. Wow, Maylee, you're being loud. The next page is all of the contact information. Under primary contacts, I have myself and Corey's primary contact information, including our cell phone numbers and our work phone numbers, as well as emergency contact information. So that would include, for Oliver, his local family members are first on the list. And then, other family members that are farther off. Under the emergency contacts, I also included their location. So the city and state where those people live, as well as the phone numbers. So if someone's looking at this, they know, oh, this person, they live in another state versus someone who's a little more local. I also wrote in just a brief medical release that I have signed on the actual form that I have in his binder, essentially allowing anyone to treat or care for him in the case of an emergency if I'm not there. So the only other thing that's not in here that I am going to add is his insurance information. I don't have that current because it's recently been updated. So essentially just a copy of the front and back of insurance cards. So once again, that can be referenced. The nice thing about insurance and emergency medical care here in the United States, at least, is that they'll still treat your kid even if you don't have information for insurance readily available. It's just a lot easier to have it than have to go back and fight the bills down the road. So I like to have that in here. The next thing in here is Oliver's seizure record. So it's a list of all of the dates, the time, how long the seizure lasted, and then additional details, what I did to treat it, if it stopped on its own, if it required hospitalization. Corey's dying over there. So I have a list of that, and then I have additional forms that I can add as we need to. Next in here I have CPR, I have infant and toddler because that's Oliver's age range. I'm going to flip it so that toddler is before infant. We have had care providers bring their children before, so sometimes it's just a nice reference, just for my peace of mind, knowing that it's available to them. And then if they've got younger kids they're bringing, then they've got it too, just in case they need it. I do prefer having providers who are CPR trained and know this already, but until you've been in an emergency, you never know how you're going to respond in an emergency. So just having a reference is really, really handy. Then the last thing I have in here is if I have someone who's taking care of Oliver during a seizure and they are in the right mindset to be able to track some of the information, being able to monitor the start and end time, that's like number one on here. Check the time of when the seizure starts, so you can track how long it lasts. Any seizure over 5 minutes is considered a status seizure, so it's good to know how long in duration it is. Also in here is vital information, so temperature, pulse and oxygenation levels. In Oliver's go bag and also where we keep emergency supplies, we have a pulse oximeter. So it's a little finger clip, we put it on his toe, that will track his heart rate and blood pressure, or not blood pressure, but blood oxygen levels. And then a thermometer. We've got one of those forehead thermometers in that area as well. And then any medication that was given, what it was, and the time it was given. So that should give emergency medical services enough information that if we're not there, they can have this binder, know exactly what they're looking at. Most importantly, they know exactly what to avoid giving him if the seizure hasn't stopped with his rescue medication. They know how to get a hold of me or important people. They know where we prefer him to go. All of that information is available for them without me having to be there and giving them that information. Fortunately, Oliver has only had, I want to say maybe one, possibly two, but one for sure. One seizure when actually it's been two. Two seizures where I was not the person there, and it was really handy. And the emergency services said that this was really, really helpful. So I'm going to take them for their word, and not that they were trying to make me feel better about it. But that's one of the resources we use to make sure that if for whatever reason I'm not there or Corey is not there to care for Oliver in a seizure emergency, then, you know, at least we know we've done everything we can to prepare someone to be successful in helping him. I hope this was helpful information. We'll go over his go back on another day and some other resources that we use to try to keep Oliver safe and healthy. So that's it. Absolutely not. Sit. There's my girl. Who do you think you are?